Batman The Dark Knight number 12, written by Greg Hurwitz, art by David Finch. Last issue, Batman got captured by the Scarecrow in like the silliest way possible, and then this issue is literally just like, hey, let's talk about our traumatic pasts and give David Finch something cool to draw for a while. So there's not really a whole lot to say, but just to give you the play-by-play, Scarecrow is remembering how his dad was like horribly abusive and used him in all of his fear, like chemical trials or whatever. And then we see Batman's all chained up in Scarecrow's lab, and he's like, hey, Batman, everything I did, all the Gordon stuff, everything up to that was just to get you down here. You were my master plan. And he's like, you'll never get away with it. And he's like, yeah, okay, sure. Anyway, I let Gordon go. He's totally fine. I mean, he was fear toxin, so not totally fine, but he's free. I literally only wanted you. And he's like, well, fine, whatever, do what you gotta do. So literally it says in here like, oh, all right, Batman, shall we show you the horrors of your past? And Batman says, this again? I've dealt with my past. That's all you have in your bag of tricks. And he's like, shut up. We're going to do it again anyway. So we see, Batman, he fell down the hole in the ground and a bunch of bats swarmed around him. And he's like, you literally can't see what's going on in my head, Scarecrow. Yeah, I'm reliving this, but it's not going to give you anything. He's like, oh, I don't care about knowing about it. I just need to see how you feel, how you're afraid. And then we see a little glimpse of Batman's past of how he was scared when he went down the hole and his mom was comforting him, but his dad was kind of just like standoffish. And he goes to apologize to his dad. Like, I'm sorry, I wasn't upset though. Like, I wasn't scared. I'm a brave little boy. And his dad's like, yeah, I really can't deal with this right now. We're going to the opera, so later, okay? And then we see another thing of, Bruce just feeling so alone in his own house. And then, they go to the theater, and he gets scared during the show. And as he leaves, his dad says, like, hey, look, Bruce, I get it, but the world's a big place, and you need to not be scared all the time. And then his parents die. Just adding that little bit to the mythos. So then Batman's like, well, what about your past, Scarecrow? And then Scarecrow just opens up and says, yeah, no, my dad was super scary to me, and I ran out into a cornfield one time. And then in my school, I had a stutter, and I was like alone all the time. And then he went to college, and he overheard some girl saying how scared of spiders she is. So he's like, hey, how about I give you therapy where I just dump a box of spiders on you until you get over it? And then he got let go from the college, and then he became a private practice like therapist. And he's talking to this guy, and the guy's like, yeah, I mean, why should we have to face our fears? That seems stupid. Like, the whole reason we have fears is so we don't have to face them, right? And then Scarecrow just straight up kills him. And then he goes out into his old family home, he sees a Scarecrow, and he becomes Scarecrow. And that's literally the only reason that he did anything he did here. So then we get a whole stuff of like, yeah, Batman doesn't feel any fear when he's fighting his villains. He's always in no fear, but he does still have that deep, dark past that opens up and shows whatever. So then we see the little girl that Scarecrow kidnapped in order to do experiments on her, and how like totally understanding she is with Scarecrow. She's like, can I go home before Christmas? And he's like, no. And she's like, I'm sorry you have a stutter. I had a stutter too. That kind of sucks, doesn't it? He's like, shut up. You don't know me. So yeah, anyway, he basically just tells Batman, like, all right, well, I'm now going to show you a fear toxin of what's going on in your present. And we see all around Gotham and all of his, like, family and friends and whatever. And he's like, everything looks normal, Scarecrow. Like, none of it, like, everything's fine. And he's like, but you see, Batman, they're fine even without you. You're not needed anymore. So maybe that's what this was all about, Bruce. Well, he doesn't say Bruce, but, maybe that's what it's all about. You're not needed as Batman. You never wanted to exist. Maybe that's what it is. And so then we get one last thing of him falling down into the hole, and he's like, I was scared, but what if I don't want to be human? Because that's what being human is being scared. Okay. That's the issue, by the way. It really does feel like a nothing sort of, like, it's so frustrating because I do like the issues that sometimes just take the really deep dive into like, hey, here's this like deep character motivating thing. And I'm really just going to explore it for 20 pages. And sometimes I really, really like that. But when it's something as simple as Batman's origin and like why he does what he, like, it's been done. It's been done so much better. There's not much you can really add to it at this point. I don't know. It's like someone saying like, oh, what could the deep philosophical meanings of Edgar Allan Poe be? It's like everyone has done that. Everyone's analyzed the stuff to death. This is on that same level where I don't need to see this. I get it. Yes, no. Is Batman afraid of stuff? The past 12 issues has told me, kinda. And that's all this issue's doing me as well. Is just saying, yeah, Batman's afraid of like the emotional stuff, but not like Killer Croc. And isn't that kind of weird? Yes, it is weird. I don't need you telling me that for 12 issues. So overall, I'm still just upset we're still doing Scarecrow. That's really what it all comes down to. Is like, I don't need any more Scarecrow here. You've been doing this for 12 issues. Pick someone new. Overall, this one gets a... I'm going to give it a 6. And a lot of that is that the art, like, it's not incompetent. It is still a good, well-made issue. It's just content and context-wise, I'm so done with this. So 6, just because there's nothing technically wrong with it.